What is a dark empath, dark triad, and how to deal with one? If you've ever felt taken advantage of by someone you shared an emotional connection with, you may have dealt with a dark empath. Dark empaths can easily read people's emotions, but they use this skill to manipulate others and further themselves rather than as a means of connection. Being in a relationship with someone who exhibits manipulative traits like dark empathy can hinder your personal and professional growth. So understanding the dark empath is very important to protecting your emotional well-being and fostering authentic relationships by increasing your self-awareness. So in this video, you're going to learn how to identify traits of a dark empath so that you can feel more confident setting boundaries or ending relationships with such kind of toxic people. So the big question is this: what is a dark empath? A dark empath is someone who has a high level of empathy, but uses it for personal gain rather than to help others. They understand people's emotions and pretend to care, but their interests ultimately lie in how others can help them financially, socially, or in other ways. While dark empaths have high emotional intelligence and can understand your emotions, they don't have compassionate empathy. This means they don't experience your motivations in a way that compels them to want to help you. Instead, they use cognitive empathy, which allows them to rationally understand another person's thoughts and perspective. They might use this understanding to manipulate you without feeling remorse or consequence. Researchers introduced the concept of dark empaths while exploring the dark side of human behavior, aiming to investigate the existence of darkness in the presence of empathy. They found that people who exhibit a cluster of dark traits, known as the dark triad, can also have high levels of cognitive empathy. So, let's compare dark empathy versus narcissist. Narcissists are people who demonstrate a pattern of arrogant behavior. Dark empaths and people with narcissistic personality disorder share some similarities. So, some of these similarities that dark empaths share with narcissists include an elevated sense of self-importance. However, they also have individual differences, such as empathic abilities. A dark empath has an elevated level of cognitive empathy, while narcissists generally lack affective empathy, which is the ability to emotionally connect with others' feelings. The other difference is self-awareness. Dark empaths may realize they are doing something wrong, but continue to do it anyway. Let me repeat that point again. Dark empaths may realize they are doing something wrong, but continue to do it anyway. Narcissists, on the other hand, they are often they have less awareness of how their actions affect others. While the other difference is on the type of manipulation. While narcissists and dark empaths both manipulate others, they generally do so in different ways. The dark empath is more likely to try to mold themselves to your emotions to gain your trust. A narcissist will try to impress you with grandiose gestures to win approval and social status. So dark empaths can recognize others' emotional states and feelings towards them, while narcissists are more consumed with their own sense of self, making them more likely to lack awareness of what others think of them. Let's look at dark empath versus psychopath. Dark empathy may get confused with psychopathy, which is another type of personality construct. However, these concepts differ in their toxic traits, behaviors, and deficits. Psychopaths typically lack affective, compassionate, and emotional empathy entirely. They often have superficial charm and they behave in a more impulsive manner. They are also unable to feel guilt. The same is true for a sociopath, who is also likely to lack remorse. So, understanding the dark triad and dark triad personalities. Before people deeply looked at dark empathy, researchers attributed many of the same characteristics of a dark empath to the dark triad. So, The dark triad is a combination of 3 different abusive personality types. The Machiavellianism, which describes a personality type that attempts to gain power through deception and exploitation. Subclinical narcissism describes people who don't have narcissistic personality disorder but exhibit narcissistic traits such as a need for admiration. And subclinical psychopathy refers to people who exhibit signs of psychopathy without the antisocial traits. So while these personality types all have to do with manipulation, they are characterized by a lack of empathy. The term dark empath was created to describe people who have dark triad traits in addition to cognitive empathy. So what are these dark empath traits? Dark empaths often show certain personality traits that can be considered negative on their own, or that the person can use in ways that make them red flags in a relationship. The common traits of a dark empath include cognitive empathy. Cognitive empathy is the empathy that enables them to rationally understand and likely to exploit your feelings, thoughts, and perspective. Then we have extroversion. Dark empaths are typically more extroverted and seem at ease in social settings. Then we have manipulation. A dark empath uses the ability to connect with people to control situations for their personal gain, such as becoming your friend because you know someone who could help them with career growth. Then there is narcissism. Dark empaths show traits of narcissism, such as having a sense of entitlement or superiority. Then there is dark humor. Dark empaths are often sarcastic and they exhibit dark humor that can seem cruel, such as mocking someone. Then there's gaslighting, which is a natural response for dark empaths when they are trying to control a situation. And this can leave their victim questioning their sanity and sense of reality. While a dark empath is good at reading others' emotions, they lack sympathy for others' misfortunes. Then there's love bombing. Dark empaths are prone to love bombing, which refers to showering someone with gifts and attention to earn their trust. Since dark empaths may display some habits of empathetic people, their behavior can be difficult to identify and manage. So what causes dark empathy? The exact cause of dark empathy is unknown, but psychological, genetic, and environmental factors may influence it. So how do you deal with dark empath? How do you deal with a dark empath? Dealing with a dark empath can be emotionally challenging, and that's why it's important to address any relationships where you feel manipulated as quickly as possible. If you may be dealing with a dark empath, there are certain things that you need to do to create emotional distance from the relationship. Now you can set boundaries. Create and communicate boundaries with the individual about which behaviors you will and won't tolerate. It's also a good idea to limit contact with the person altogether. These proactive measures can help protect you from any additional emotional or self-esteem damage. Then you can also trust your gut. If you have a hunch that something manipulative may be happening, there's a high chance you're right. It is important that you trust your gut when it's telling you something is off, even if you aren't sure what it is yet. So pay attention to your body and emotions when you are around the person or when you think about them. Make sure you're not ignoring any warning signs of an unhealthy relationship, like mental abuse that could harm your personal development. Sometimes an outside unbiased opinion is necessary to understand the full extent of possible manipulation. So if you think you might be dealing with a dark empath, try asking a friend for advice. Explain the situation and why you feel something is wrong, then ask for their input. It is best to ask a friend or family member who doesn't know the person manipulating you to avoid the bias of the existing opinions. So talking through everything can help validate your feelings and help you better recognize what's happening. Again, to deal with a dark empath, prioritize yourself. It can be challenging to make yourself a priority because it is true if you have toxic empathy, which is when you carry the emotional burdens of others. If a dark empath tries to play the victim and guilt trip you when they are called out, it can be an emotional trigger. By focusing on yourself and your feelings, you'll be better able to see through their emotional manipulation. The other way of dealing with a dark empath is to stay grounded. Grounding is a practice for reconnecting yourself with the present moment to help calm anxiety and worries. Grounding is proven to help lessen physiological and emotional stress, which can help set you up for better conflict management. So, to be grounded, you can use the following techniques. Practice mindful breathing. It involves putting your full attention on the sensation of breathing, including how you feel your breath in your body and where you notice it's going. This can help improve your emotional regulation and stop negative self-talk. You can also prioritize physical well-being and health. Having good sleep hygiene and a nutrient-rich diet can improve your overall well-being, including your emotional and mental health. Also, spending time in nature. When you spend time outdoors, it can help you reconnect with or find yourself. This can be as simple as going for a short walk or getting some sunlight. So, when you improve your overall health, it can help strengthen your critical thinking skills for a more rational thought pattern. Again, to deal with the dark empath, practice self-love. If you've been dealing with these dark empaths, you may feel overly self-critical, like it's your fault for falling victim to the other person's manipulative tactics. So it's important to practice self-compassion. As research indicates, self-compassion offers mental health benefits and decreases feelings of loneliness. You have nothing to apologize for or feel ashamed of, so try to change your perspective by thinking about what you learned that will help you navigate future relationships. Again, you can seek professional help when dealing with a dark empath. If you are having trouble letting go of a toxic relationship, then it may be useful to get professional help. Consider going to therapy or working with a relationship coach who can give you the tools to improve your interpersonal relationships. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so. Thank you.